Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here. My faith in whether we'll ever get to see the Snyder Cut of the Justice League has gone down, up, in the middle, down, up. I've done videos for ages, haven't I? Sometimes I'm feeling enthusiastic. And I think, yes, have faith. It's going to happen. Today, I'm feeling really positive about the Snyder Cut, thanks to loyal contributor and friend to Zack Snyder, photographer Clay Enos. Now, this is a great little article from Cinema Blend, which normally I don't really take any notice of because some of the stuff they say just annoys me or it's irrelevant. Their news is always late. But this is a great article, so shall we give it a read? This is the kind of headline banner of it. What happened to Zack Snyder's Justice League is a terrible wrong to learn from, DC colleagues say. It's been over a year since Justice League released, but people are still talking about what it could have been and not what it actually was. Some fans have been vocal about requests to see a Zack Snyder's director's cut of the movie, and they aren't the only ones. A few people who have worked on the film and saw what it was originally going to be have voiced how fans missed out. And photographer Clay Enos recently said that what happened to the movie was a terrible wrong. Now I'm going to read what Clay had to say. Clay's a very close friend of Zack Snyder's and he's always worked with him. He's always done pictures for him on his movies. So this is what Clay had to say. This is going to go down in film history as some sort of terrible wrong that can be righted creatively. But what culture has to emerge for that to happen is something we need to work towards. We need to prioritise this sort of ultra filmmaker world, and that hasn't been happening of late. So all of us need to support films that have ultra's mark on them. Let's move gradually towards where the bottom line and the box office isn't the headline. So basically, I didn't read that out great. I'm not very good at reading these things out, but basically what Clay is saying, we've got to stop focusing on the box office. And do you know what? This isn't just the studio's fault. It's ours. How many videos do you see people constantly talking about box office? On Twitter, movie critics talk more about the box office than they do the plot or the quality of the film. We've all got to stop this. We have got to let the directors, first of all, the studios have got to bring the right creatives on board and give them the freedom to do what they need to do. Now, I've always said that Disney and Marvel Studios are not friends to actors and directors. There's no freedom. Kevin Feige decides what the film's going to be, and that director's got to bring that vision, right? And anyone who steps out of those boundaries, aka Joss Whedon, other directors as well, we've seen it so many times with the MCU, haven't we? So this is really interesting, and I totally agree with what Clay's saying. Now, this is what Cinema Blend say after that kind of stuff that he said. Due to a personal tragedy, Zack Snyder had to step away as the director of Justice League when the film was going into reshoots. These were reportedly extensive reshoots from the studio in order to course correct the film, based on the negative reaction to Batman v Superman. Now, let's get this clear. Zack Snyder wasn't going to do any reshoots. He was happy with what he had. The studio went behind his back once they brought in Joss Whedon, They plugged Joss Whedon as a choice from Zack Snyder because they were friends to finish off the movie, aka in editing in VFX. They got him to go back and change what the film was. They decided, because of the pressure they were under, to try and make it an MCU movie. And this is where they got it wrong. They had to bring back Henry with facial hair, and they couldn't get rid of it because the studio behind Mission Impossible Fallout weren't having it. And, Henry could have lost that job if he shaved off that facial hair. So it was a big mess. They go on. Ultimately, the changes didn't help the film. No shit, Sherlock, as it earned mixed reviews and underperformed at the box office. Since much of what Zack Snyder had originally planned was scrapped, but mostly filmed, fans began asking for Warner Brothers to release the Snyder Cut. Due to several logistical reasons, that is unlikely to happen. Hang on a minute. Logistical reasons. What are you talking about? This doesn't make any sense. Do they mean because he's now doing something for Netflix? Don't talk crap. If Warner Brothers agree to this, Zack is fighting for his cut. His friends are telling us, Clay Enos has come onto Twitter and told us, and Vero, and said to keep hashtagging release the Snyder Cut. So there's, as far as Zack Snyder and his side of it is, he wants this to happen. It's up to Warner Brothers now. So don't give me anything about logistics, please. Anyway, that is unlikely to happen, but it hasn't stopped people who worked on Justice League from letting us know how much we are missing out. You see, they're a bit scared of the studio, you see. That's why they put the logistical crap on. Appearing on the Faruqi Bros podcast, still photographer Clay Enos talked about Justice League and how it was changed by the studio. Enos has collaborated with Snyder on several of his films, such as 300, Sucker Punch, Man of Steel, Batman v Superman and Justice League. Enos didn't dish on how it was specifically different, but said that people need to support authors, I can't even read that word, directors with a distinct style and voice, so that studios are less likely to stamp out their vision. This is very interesting. I'm going to talk about this. While the studio system of making movies is not perfect, I don't think Warner Brothers not trusting Zack Snyder was the problem. They clearly did trust him in Man of Steel. Well, actually, it was Christopher Nolan who had to come in and stop them from interfering constantly. So that's not the case. It seems to me that the problem was that Warner had panic. Yes, they did. They had a panic attack. He's right. Whoever's writing this is right. And tried to redo Justice League too late in the game. True. Potentially resulting a movie that was worse than it would have been. Very true. While Zack Snyder's original vision for his Justice League movies sounded epic in scope, it never really does much good to wallow in what could have been. Oh, piss off. The dceu has a bright future. Yes, it has, with lots of interesting projects in the works. And you can find what's coming down the pipeline here. You know what? That's the end of that, by the way. Excuse me. Coughing again. It's really putting me in a bad mood. Anyway, right, what's put me in the worst mood is reading that at the end. It is important to wallow. It is important to fight for the Snyder Cut. I believe it's coming, people. I believe it's coming. This is not going away. It's not going away. People are still fighting. People are still hashtagging for this. I'm still fighting. Ping Pong Flicks is still fighting. The Movie Junkies is still fighting for this. Everyone who loved what Zack did is fighting for this. We're not fighting to force Warner Brothers to bring Zack Snyder back. We know. Us with a little bit of grey matter, no. This will never happen. We're going down a different direction now. Hey hum, I'm excited for that. I really am. But there is a big elephant in the room. Man of Steel, great movie. Batman v Superman, great movie. Proud to have them as part of this franchise. Suicide Squad, great movie. Wonder Woman, great movie. It's Justice League that is the embarrassment. The theatrical cut. The Justice cut, right? So, we want the real Justice League. So we can say, this is the real version. We don't have to watch the theatrical cut anymore. I can snap it into right here in front of all of my subscribers, and we can see the Snyder Cut of the Justice League. This is what we all want. Then we can finally move on. Look at this scene behind me with Henry. The proper Henry. The proper cut. The Snyder Cut. Look. Just look at it. How beautiful it would have been. What did we get instead of this scene? What you're seeing right now. Well, a fake background of the Kent farm. Fake smile. CG face on Henry. Not only is it a disgrace that this happened, it's a disgrace for Henry in his career. Henry deserves better than this. Henry's a lovely guy. He has really, really done justice to Superman. You see him in public. You know, you never hear anything negative about him. I remember seeing him on that Man of Steel Blu-ray talking to a handicapped child and how beautiful that was. So, you know, Henry deserves better. We deserve better. Yes, we want to move on. We don't want to wallow in the past, Cinema Blend. We don't. We want to see the Snyder Cut. And then we want to move on. That's all we want. And really, that's all I've got to say about this subject. So keep on hashtagging, release the Snyder Cut. Let's see the real ultimate edition of the Justice League, and I applaud for Clay Enoson coming out and talking so boldly. Now, before I go on to my next subject, I just want to say this as well. The studio director kind of partnership is a collaborative effort, and both teams must collaborate and share the creative responsibilities. The studios own the characters, own the name, and I respect that, and the director must always respect that. But they mustn't. There are studios who say to a director, hey, you're gonna put out what we want you to do, and that's fine. But this wasn't the case in this situation. Christopher Nolan brought in Zack Snyder. He was under the impression he could do what he wanted to do. And because of Christopher Nolan, that was allowed within Man of Steel. It happened with Batman v Superman, although the studio did interfere, and in the theatrical cut, too much was cut, and we lost a lot of important elements of that film. But at least we saw the ultimate cut. And so the studio just didn't handle having such a unique director like Zack Snyder. It became problematic, and I think this is where the problems lie. And as this article rightly says, Warner Brothers had a panic attack because of the pundits, because of the critics, because of the mainstream audience reaction to Batman v Superman. They were worried, and they had every right to be worried. But if they were worried, they shouldn't have allowed him to even start Justice League. We've discussed this before. But they've learned their lesson, they have. But we do need to see the Snyder Cut, and we need to keep on fighting for it. But today's a big day, everyone. We're finally going to see trailer 2 of Shazam, and I can't wait. Will it be like, was it the second trailer of Aquaman when we saw a 5-minute trailer? I mean, it's interesting because there's been a big space between Shazam trailer 1 and Shazam trailer 2. Now, there are a lot of conspiracy theories here. It wouldn't surprise me if there were kind of a lot of changes since then. Maybe the costume, the way Zack looks in the costume, I don't know. I think we may see a few differences, or they decided they were happy to keep on plugging out posters and billboards and TV spots, and then they could do the hard push now. So you get a trailer 2, then you get a really quick trailer 3 as well. There won't be a big space, and they're just kind of bombarding you with marketing so close to the movie. That could be the case. Who knows? But of course, we all know trailers can make or break a movie. We saw it with Batman v Superman and the reveal of Doomsday. Now, when I saw the reveal of Doomsday in the trailer in Batman v Superman, I thought that was awesome, and I was excited. But, oh, you spoiled the movie. Oh, no, everyone. You know what people are like. I mean, some idiots even review posters, don't they? But I'm really excited for the trailer. So that's going to be about 8:30, 9 a.m. US time in certain areas in America. So I would say around Europe, definitely you're looking at 4, 5, 6, maybe even 7 o'clock tonight. So really excited to see this next trailer of the next DCEU movie and see what we're going to get. Will there be any hints of Black Adam? Will there be any hints of Superman? I'm very excited for this movie. I applaud Zachary Levi, the lead of this movie, on Twitter, helping people with their depression and mental health problems. He is being a stark contrast to what Brie Larson's been doing during the build-up for Captain Marvel. And that's not me opposing them or putting them against each other. That is the fact. So thanks everyone for watching. Please like, share and subscribe. And I'll be back tomorrow for another DCEU Daily.